Today we're going to cover how much you should bend from your waist. So I've got a lot of questions on how far should I hinge from my hips? Are my hands too high or my hands too low? We're just going to cover a few ways that you can check to make sure that you are bending and you have the right hinge and you're bent over enough to play good golf. So when it comes from bending from your waist, there's a few ways. Everybody's going to be kind of different because some people's arms are going to be longer. Some people have a longer torso, some people might have shorter legs or longer legs. So it's really hard to come up with just a general way of how to check, but here's a few things that you can look for. So when you get into your posture, and hopefully you're bending from your hips, if you don't know how to do that, I've got a few videos that you can go back and check out. But make sure that you bend from your hips. And when it comes to knee flex, this is where I see a lot of people kind of get confused. When you bend from your knees, basically if you just lock your knees and relax them, that's basically all the knee flex you're going to need in your game. You're going to see guys like Keegan Bradley who really have a lot more, okay, and that works for them. Again, everything is kind of what works best for you, but lock your knees, then relax them, and then as you bend from your waist, okay, and you should feel like your backside and your hips go backwards. If you just touch the top of your kneecaps, that is a very good way to check and make sure that you are bent over enough and you're not too much, okay? So make sure you don't just bend your knees a whole lot and then reach for your kneecaps. That's cheating. So bend from your hips, touch the top of your kneecaps. So when you're getting ready to hit a golf ball, just make sure you set up to it, kind of drop your right hand, touch your kneecap so you can check it. The second thing is I like to see a lot of space between your hands and say your belly button. So I like to see the club kind of pointing at your belly button when you set up. And I want you to really feel like your arms are hanging straight down from your shoulders. Okay, if you're reaching out here, it's too much, or if you're too close, you'll tend to stand up too straight. So check that, make sure that the club is pointing at your belly button. You've got almost like a hand width spread out between your belly button and the end of your club, and you should be good to go. So those are just two ways that you can check that make sure you're hinged over enough and that you have enough space and your arms are hanging the right way. When it comes to your driver, it's going to be a little bit different. You are going to stand up a little bit taller just because the club is going to be a little bit longer. So maybe not the middle of your kneecap, just maybe a little bit higher. Okay, and now the club, instead of being straight down under your arms, it's going to hang more underneath your chin. Okay, it's going to be longer, so the club's going to swing in a little bit more of a flatter plane versus, let's say, a wedge is going to be a little bit steeper plane. So just make sure that you are bending correctly. Make sure you touch your kneecaps and make sure that club is pointing in the right place. And that's a good way to check and make sure your posture is correct.